Imagine an empire so vast, so powerful, that it stretched from the banks of the Indus River in the east to the shores of the Mediterranean in the west. A civilization that redefined governance, military strategy, and culture. Welcome to the story of the Persian Empire, one of history's greatest superpowers. This is a tale of ambition, conquest, betrayal, and innovation. So, sit back, grab some popcorn, and let's dive deep into the rise, glory, and fall of the Persian Empire. Our journey begins in the vast and rugged landscapes of modern-day Iran, a land of towering mountains, endless deserts, and fertile valleys. This region, once home to scattered tribes and warring factions, would soon give birth to one of the greatest empires the world had ever seen. And at the center of it all was a remarkable figure, Cyrus the Great. Now, imagine the 6th century BCE, a time when Persia was not yet an empire but merely a rising kingdom under the rule of the Achaemenid dynasty. At this time, the region was dominated by the Medes, a powerful people who had long controlled much of Iran. But everything was about to change. Cyrus, a young and ambitious leader, was no ordinary ruler. Born around 600 BCE, he inherited the throne of Persia from his father, Cambyses I. But unlike other kings who focused only on their own survival, Cyrus had a vision, one of unity, expansion, and governance based on respect rather than oppression. The first step toward his grand ambition? Taking down the Medes. In 550 BCE, Cyrus led his Persian forces against the Median king Astyages, his own grandfather by marriage. This wasn't just a battle, it was a revolution. Many Medes, tired of their king's rule, actually joined Cyrus rather than fight him. In the end, Cyrus defeated Astyages and took control, marking the birth of the Achaemenid Empire. But here's where things get interesting. Cyrus didn't slaughter the Medes or erase their culture. Instead, he integrated them into his new empire, allowing them to retain their roles in governance. This was just the beginning. Cyrus didn't just sit back and admire his kingdom, he expanded it like no one before him. First, he conquered Lydia, in modern-day Turkey, ruled by the famously wealthy king Croesus. According to legend, Croesus once asked the Oracle of Delphi if he should go to war with Cyrus. The oracle responded, "If you go to war, a great empire will fall." Thinking it meant Persia, Croesus attacked, but it was his own empire that crumbled. Then, Cyrus turned his attention to the Babylonian Empire, a mighty kingdom famous for its walls and grand cities. Yet in 539 BCE, Cyrus marched into Babylon almost without resistance. The Babylonians, unhappy with their king, welcomed him as a liberator. This was a monumental victory, not just militarily, but politically. With the conquest of Babylon, Cyrus now ruled the largest empire the world had ever seen, stretching from India to the Mediterranean Sea. But here's where Cyrus stood apart from other conquerors: he did not rule through fear or destruction. Unlike many emperors who crushed the cultures and religions of the lands they conquered, Cyrus embraced diversity. The best example of this? His treatment of the Jews. For decades, the Jewish people had been exiled in Babylon, forced to live far from their homeland of Jerusalem after the Babylonians had destroyed their temple. But Cyrus? He did the unthinkable. He freed the Jews and allowed them to return to their homeland to rebuild their temple. This act is even recorded in the Bible and on the Cyrus cylinder, an ancient clay document that many historians call the world's first declaration of human rights. It proclaimed freedom of religion and protection for all people under Cyrus's rule. So, what made Cyrus different? He understood something few leaders before him did, that empires are stronger when they respect the people they rule. Rather than ruling through fear, he won loyalty through tolerance and fair governance. And with that, the Achaemenid Empire wasn't just an empire of conquest, it became a model for how great civilizations could be built on diversity, justice, and vision. After the legendary reign of Cyrus the Great then came his son Cambyses, and let's just say, he wasn't exactly the best ruler. His reign was chaotic, filled with rash decisions, failed campaigns, and, oh yeah, his mysterious death during a revolt. The empire was on the brink of collapse. But just when things seemed to spiral out of control, a new leader emerged. A man with vision, strategy, and an iron grip on governance. A man who would take Persia to new heights. Then came Darius the Great, and oh boy, did he take Persia to the next level. Darius wasn't just about conquering new lands, he was all about efficiency. Think of him as the CEO of the ancient world. He divided the empire into satrapies, or provinces, each governed by local officials. And to keep things in check, he established an elite group of spies called the King's Eyes and Ears, a bit like ancient James Bonds. One of his greatest achievements: the Royal Road, a highway stretching over 1,500 miles, allowing for superfast communication. Messages that once took months to deliver could now arrive in a matter of days. Imagine that. Persia had express delivery centuries before Amazon. Of course, no empire lasts without conflict. Persia's biggest headache? Those feisty Greeks. Darius, and later his son Xerxes, wanted to expand Persian influence into Greece. But the Greeks weren't having it. Enter the famous Persian Wars, battles that gave us legends like the Battle of Marathon, the 300 Spartans at Thermopylae, and the naval battle of Salamis. Despite their massive armies, the Persians suffered humiliating defeats at the hands of the Greeks. This was a turning point, the first cracks in Persia's seemingly unbreakable empire. Fast forward to 330 BCE. The once mighty Persian Empire, a colossus that ruled from the Aegean to the Indus, was no longer the unshakable force it had once been. Weak leadership, internal strife, and an empire stretched to its limits had left it vulnerable. And in its moment of weakness, destiny delivered a conqueror unlike any the world had ever seen, Alexander the Great. Born in 356 BCE, Alexander was raised on tales of Achilles and Greek heroism. By the time he became king of Macedonia at just 20 years old, he had already set his sights on the impossible, defeating the mighty Persian Empire. And he wasted no time. Darius III, the last true king of Persia, found himself on the defensive. Despite his vast armies, he could not match Alexander's military genius. The decisive battle came at Gaugamela in 331 BCE. Against overwhelming numbers, Alexander's brilliant tactics shattered the Persian lines. Darius fled the battlefield, his empire collapsing behind him. With Darius's death, Persia was leaderless. But Alexander was not done. He wanted the heart of the empire, Persepolis. And then, in a single night of fire and conquest, Persepolis, the jewel of the Persian world, was reduced to ashes. Some say it was revenge for the Persian sacking of Athens a century earlier. Others believe it was an accident. But one thing was clear: the Persian Empire, the greatest of its time, was no more. The fall of Persia was not just the end of an empire, it was the beginning of a new era. With Persia under his rule, Alexander had changed the course of history forever. But here's the thing: the fall of Persia didn't mean its legacy disappeared. In fact, Persia's influence is still seen today. From the concept of human rights, road systems, and postal services to Persian art, language, and architecture, the world still feels Persia's impact. Even after Alexander's conquests, Persia rose again in different forms. The Parthian and Sasanian empires kept Persian culture alive for centuries. And today, Iran carries the rich heritage of its Persian ancestors. So, what can we learn from the Persian Empire? That power, no matter how great, is never permanent. That true leadership isn't just about conquest, it's about governance, culture, and diplomacy. And most importantly, that history is an endless cycle of rise and fall. What do you think was Persia's greatest contribution to history? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story insightful, please do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to Ninja Trends TV, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a deep dive into history's biggest moments. Your support helps us continue to bring you powerful, thought-provoking content. And if you know someone who would find this video fascinating, share it with them. Thank you for watching Ninja Trends TV, where history, culture, and knowledge come alive. See you in the next one.